Hi, folks. Some, I imagine, are scratching their head and wondering whether or not, do I believe in prophetic dreams? And the answer is, yes, I do. I do believe in them. I believe that I've had maybe one, maybe two, maybe three prophetic dreams in my life. They were always very, very clear to me. I knew exactly what to do, and it was exactly right. And I was thankful to the Lord for that. But they were always very, very clear to me. I don't remember ever having a symbolic prophetic dream. So the next question that comes up is, what do I believe about prophetic dreams? Well, as usual, what does the Bible say? What does the Bible say about prophetic dreams? There are 21 prophetic dreams that are recorded in our Bible. Some were clear, some were symbolic and needed interpretation. If the prophetic dream was clear, there was no need for an interpretation. But there were some dreams that were symbolic and needed interpretation. 20 out of 21 of these prophetic dreams were about the person dreaming. I want you to get that in your head. 20 out of the 21 prophetic dreams that are recorded in our Bible were about the person that was dreaming the dream. They concern the person dreaming, not someone else, but them. Of course, everybody's going to be asking, well, what about that other one? Well, that's Daniel 7. And it's the outlier, and I'm not going to be discussing that in this video. But you can look it up. It's almost the entire chapter of Daniel 7. It's Daniel's dream of the four beasts. And you need to note that it was symbolic, but that an angel interpreted that dream for him, not any man or woman. An angel interpreted that dream. So I'm just going to go on. I'm going to go on just because it's not, this particular outlier is not the point of this video. The point of this video is, do I believe in prophetic dreams? So let's go on to the next slide here. If you think you had a prophetic dream, what should you do? That's a great question. What should you do if you think you had a prophetic dream? Well, if it was clear, then you already know what it meant. You already know what it meant. There's no reason to worry about anything one way or the other. If it was clear, you had a prophetic dream and it was clear, you already know what it meant. You move on with your life because God gave you a prophetic word to edify you. So what if it wasn't clear? Well, if you think that you had a symbolic prophetic dream, what should you do? Well, this is where it gets kind of interesting. Here's what you do, though. You just tell the dream. That's it. Don't embellish it. Don't add your own interpretation. If God sent it and it was symbolic, that meant you need someone else to interpret it. In every single case in the Bible where a symbolic dream was given to a person, someone else interpreted it, not the person who had the dream. And remember, I said just a few seconds ago that every single dream recorded in our Bible, 20 out of 21 of them, had to do with the dreamer. So if you've got a symbolic dream and you think it's prophetic, and you go, it's about Donald Trump, it's about the rapture, it's about this, it's about that, I question that, because every single dream recorded in the Bible that was prophetic was about the person who had the dream. It involved them. Except for that one in Daniel 7, and I'm not going to get into that in this video at this point. So you got a symbolic, you believe you have a symbolic prophetic dream that you had one evening, and it's symbolic, and you're going, oh, what do I do? Well, you tell a dream. You tell a dream, obviously. But then what? Well, this is an interesting thing that I noted in our Bible. It's this, that symbolic dreams seem to be very, very similar to speaking in tongues in the New Testament. That tongues or symbolic dreams plus interpretation equals prophecy. I found that very, very interesting. If you have a symbolic dream that you believe is prophetic, and you tell it to someone that you think might be able to help you understand it or interpret it, and they come back and go, oh, here's what this means right here. I know from the Lord, because the interpretation comes from the Lord. That's prophecy. Then you understand what's going on. I do believe that does happen. I do believe that happens even now in 2018. But you need to note that God did not give you the interpretation. He gave someone else the interpretation, and it was for the edification of pretty much for both of you. But He did not give you the interpretation. That's the important thing. He didn't give you the interpretation. And like I said, 20 out of 21 dreams in the New Testament, or in our Bible, that were there, someone else interpreted it. And it was prophetic, but someone else interpreted it. If you have a symbolic dream, you do not get to interpret your own dream. This brings me to my final slide. Why talk about a symbolic dream and then add the interpretation? Why not just speak about the interpreted prophecy? It's sort of like the whole, and again, I want to compare it to speaking in tongues. And I'm not going to speak on tongues or anything like that, but it's the whole idea of like some guy getting up in front of the congregation and going, blah, 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 sham, blah, 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 sham, blah. And then he goes, and this is what it means. It means X, Y, Z. And everybody, I'd be raising my hand and go, excuse me, why do you have to do the whole, blah, 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 blah stuff? Why don't you just give the interpretation? Because I don't understand what you said, but the interpretation I do, and Paul agrees with me. Paul says in this very famous chapter, 1 Corinthians chapter 14, and I really, really, really encourage you all to read through this chapter about the whole idea of tongues and what it means and how it edifies the church, and tongues plus interpretation equals prophecy. I do believe tongues are still exist. I believe prophecy still exists. It's not, I'm not a, what's that term? I'm trying to think of it. A cessationalist. No, I'm not. But here's the verse in particular I'm thinking of. Yet in the church I had rather speak 5 words with my understanding, that by my voice I might teach others also, than 10,000 words in an unknown tongue. Paul himself points out that the whole idea of like doing a symbolic dream and then and here's the interpretation. Get to the point. Paul's saying, get to the point. The symbolic dream means nothing. Get to the point. If it's interpreted, get to the point. To sum this up, these people that come on the internet and say, I had a symbolic dream, and I'm going to describe the symbolic dream to you, and then I'm going to give my own interpretation of it, everything. Here's what it is right there. They're reckless simpletons, and they spend hours describing their symbolic dreams and then interpreting them themselves. They are in biblical error. Our Bible doesn't support that method, and you can feel free to ignore them. They're heretics. So that concludes this particular video right now. If you disagree with me, I'm willing to engage and discuss it. Feel free to leave a comment in the comments section, and please keep it about the video itself and whether or not it's biblical. because otherwise I don't know if I'm going to want to engage. If you're just going to say, how dare you, I go, I do dare, and I'll just delete it. But if you like the video, please subscribe, hit a like. I'd appreciate it. Thank you.